We wouldn't invite shepherds to anything. In fact, if you showed up to something and shepherds were there, you would leave. Let's go, hon. There's shepherds over there. You wouldn't want, and there's all kind of reasons for this. One, because of their work, they had to spend a lot of time outside. And you're going, well, duh. Well, the problem is sheep. Ever been to a petting zoo? Sheep are disappointing animals. They are. They're not the brightest animals. I've told you before, you never see anybody who trains sheep to do anything. They stink. A nice wool coat is nice, but it has to be processed a lot. You want that wool a long way from that sheep before you put it on, as a coat. And these guys spent their entire lives outside taking care of these sheep. Because of that, they couldn't participate in religious holidays. So the Passover and the things that marked you as a faithful person, they couldn't do. So everybody looked down on them as unbelievers. Because they had to move from place to place, sheep eat grass down to the dirt. And one of the reasons that we had such an interesting phase of our Western history between the ranchers and the sheep herders is because the sheep leave nothing behind. They eat it down to the dirt. So you have to move them from place to place because they ruin a pasture. And so you have to keep rotating them around. And when the shepherds would move from place to place, they had this kind of idea among themselves that if we're here, then everything that is here is ours. And they were known to be thieves. They were known to be liars. And in fact, they were so low down that they couldn't testify in a court of law. If there was a trial going on and the only witness you had to support your case was a shepherd, you were out of luck because nobody would recognize their testimony. Now, it's funny, isn't it, that nobody recognized their testimony, but the first one to give testimony about the birth of Jesus is shepherds. No one that anybody would listen to. No one that anybody would take account of. Why in the world would God start with shepherds? Well, you know. I know. It's so that all of us know that all of us are welcome. You see, these shepherds, we think, because of where they were, may have been shepherds that were responsible for raising the sheep that were offered as sacrifices in the temple. They were in charge of raising the perfect sacrifice, a lamb without blemish, a sheep without blemish, that would be used to atone for the sins of the people, and yet they weren't even allowed in the temple. And so God provides the perfect sacrifice, not in the temple, but in the manger. And the first people to hear that were the first people who couldn't get in the temple at all. Outcast. Unbelievers. People whose society needs to do their dirty work, but whose names are never known.